Hello again, everyone. Cowboy Star coming back at you. That's right. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys once again. Well, folks, there's a lot of things going on with the new regime in town with the Dallas Cowboys. As you all know by now, Brian Schottenheimer was elevated to the head coaching position. Kind of came out of nowhere once Mike McCarthy decided not to take the 3-year offer that the Cowboys tried to offer him. He wanted 5 years, is what the rumor mill's got going on right now, and that's the reason Mike McCarthy just decided to take off this year, since no other teams were interested in hiring him as their head coach. At first when I heard this news about Schottenheimer, I was really kind of befuddled and down and out. But the more I see this guy and hear him, the more I think I'm going to like him better than I did Mike McCarthy, which I never really did like Mike McCarthy all that great. I didn't think he was all that great of a coach. He's not a leader of men in my opinion. I don't think he's okay with X's and O's, but he has a certain outlook on how he wants to run the game, and I think it's antiquated. I think it's old and stale, and I think that's the reason the Cowboys never could get past the first game of the playoffs when they did make the playoffs. So, more about Schottenheimer. He's putting together a really good staff. I mean, if you look at some of these guys that he's bringing in, he's talking about, wanting to all be on the same page and want to instill a certain type of attitude in the Cowboys. Well, the first coach on offense, one of the first coaches he's brought in is a man by the name of Clayton Adams, who was the running game coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals. Well, the Cardinals had a really good run game. They were probably like 6th or 7th in the league last year running the ball. And that's exactly what the Cowboys need to start doing, is running this ball, man. We have not had a good running game or offensive line really to speak of in the last 4 or 5 years. And in order for the Cowboys to change things around, they're going to have to start running the football, taking pressure off of Dak to where he's not feeling like he's got everything on his shoulders. Dak is a good quarterback. He is probably number 6, 7 quarterback in the league. But he's not one that can just take everything on his shoulders. He has to have help, whereas most 90% of the quarterbacks in the league do. And I feel like if the Cowboys can really run that football, run the rock, I think we're going to be a good team this year. I really do. I got with these coaches that I'm fixing to talk about that we've added. Like I said, Clayton Adams, he's a good offensive line and running back coach, and I think he's going to have his hand in both with the Cowboys, because as of now, I don't think the Cowboys have hired an offensive line coach yet, and I don't know if they are or not, because Clayton will be the OC, but he won't have to call the plays. He'll just have to install everything, and Schottenheimer's going to be calling the plays. So that'll take a little pressure off of him, where he could probably do both of those jobs and do them well. So also on the running backs coach, we hired a running backs coach by the name of what was his name? Derek Foster is our new running backs coach. He was formerly the running backs coach for New Orleans last year. I've heard some good things about him. Our wide receivers coach, our new wide receiver coach, is Tequan Underwood, who was formerly the assistant wide receiver coach in New England last year. And our special teams coach that was hired is Nick Sorensen. And he's a pretty good special teams coach. I was kind of glad to get rid of Bones Fossil. I mean, I never did really like his style, the way he would Seemed like he would just do stuff off the cuff, and I don't think he even got with Coach McCarthy on some of the stuff he was doing, calling blocks and that type of thing. But I'm real excited about the draft coming up. I think the Cowboys have several key positions of need, like running back, wide receiver, safety, linebacker, offensive line, defensive end. I mean, the list goes on. And the Cowboys are packed with unrestricted free agents. So whether they like it or not, this year the Cowboys are going to look a lot different. They're going to have to get some free agents this year because of all these unrestricted free agents we have on the roster. The Cowboys roster is going to have to be turned over, and we're going to be doing a soft rebuild this year. Don't think the Cowboys are going to make it to the, deep into the playoffs this year, but I do think they might have a little bit better record than we did last year, maybe even make the playoffs. But I don't think we're quite going to be good enough to make it to the Super Bowl or the NFC Championship. But I think next year is the year that the Cowboys are going to be built back up. They're going to be used to Schottenheimer and his new staff, and they're going to be able to do good next year, even better. Now, on the defensive side, the Cowboys have hired one Matt Eberflus, who was the former Cowboy assistant defensive coach back when Rod Marinelli was there. And since then, he's been the head coach of the Chicago Bears and was since released last year. And now Ben Johnson is the new head coach for the Chicago Bears. But one thing about him, he's a really good defensive coordinator. And I think that he's going to do well in the place of Mike Zimmer. Now, there's been a rumor that Mike Zimmer would have stayed if the Cowboys would have asked him to be the head coach. Of course, the Cowboys never did, so I guess they felt he was a little bit too old and they didn't want to go with another older head coach. Schottenheimer is 51 years old, so he's relatively young compared to his years in the NFL. He's been in the NFL for 25 years, and his dad was Marty Schottenheimer, who was an awesome head coach and really, in my opinion, should be in the Hall of Fame. Still has not made it. But I liked his press conference. I liked the vision that he had. I think he's a little bit more of a, staunch guy that'll get on the players a little bit more than maybe McCarthy did. It's just, in my opinion, McCarthy was just old, stale, and antiquated in all of his offense and ways of coaching. And I'm hoping that Schottenheimer can bring a fresh new outlook. And I think he will. I think the Cowboys can't help but go up after getting rid of Mike McCarthy. As I had said in my last video, he didn't want Amari Cooper anymore. He forced him out. He forced Kellen Moore out. And look, Kellen Moore's in the Super Bowl now. So, sometimes greed can get the best of you. And I think that's what happened with Mike McCarthy. And now he's going to be sitting at home next year and not have a coaching job. Some of these coaches, I think we're going to really see the benefit of having a really good coaching staff. I think Jerry and Steven really felt like since they pulled a fast one and promoted Schottenheimer, that they really had to do their due diligence and get good coaching staff for him so they wouldn't look that bad. But some of the things that Steven has said in interviews have really got me wondering if he's had a change of heart as the way they're going to run things this year, because he said that if you keep doing the same thing over and over, as I said, you can't expect the same results. And he said that they're going to have to bring some players in for Coach Schottenheimer. And it sounds like they're going to try to be a player in free agency this year, which is good news. So if they do that and the Cowboys staff is as good as I think they are, I think this could be a pleasant surprise. We never know. You never know. He's never been a head coach before. He may be the second coming of Jimmy Johnson. Who knows? We don't know. until we let him get out there and try it. So I'm rooting for him. I hope he does a good job. He comes from a good family, and I'm hoping Coach Schottenheimer can turn things around. Now, talking about this running backs that are in the draft, the Cowboys can't help but get a good running back in this draft. There's got to be at least top tier. There's probably 5 or 6 running backs, but past that, there's at least 10 or 11, 12 running backs in this draft that the Cowboys could get. Now, if they get in the first pick that they have as number 12, if they have Ashton Jeanty there at 12, they need to take him, man. I mean, he is a game changer. He can hit his head on the goalpost almost every time he gets a hold. If he gets loose, it's over with. He's gone. He's got the speed. He's got the power. He's just an awesome back, and I'd love to see the Cowboys get him. And on top of that, he wants to play for the Cowboys. He's already said that in interviews. So I hope they do it, man. That's one thing they need to do for the fans. After all this has happened, Jerry and Steven really need to do this for the fans. But if the Cowboys go to pick at 12 and he is not there, what I would do is I would trade down and try to get another pick. Because, remember, we lost our 4th round pick when we picked up the wide receiver from Carolina. So the Cowboys need to get back that 4th round pick. So if they would traded that 12, maybe say went up to 18 or 20, there still would be a damn good running back there, and they could go ahead. Like Amarian Hampton, that's another good back that I feel like the Cowboys, he's probably like maybe 2 or 3% not as good as Jeanty. I mean, he's really exceptionally good. So there's another one, Junkins, that's out there. The running back from Texas Longhorns is out there. There's several running backs Cowboys could pick up, and I'm hoping that they do try to get one in the 1st or 2nd round. Now, we definitely need to pick up a wide receiver too. Someone, Cooks is not going to be back. He's going to demand too much money. And if it was up to me, Tolbert and the other guy that they had, the 4th-string wide receiver, his name is escaping me right now, I would just go ahead and cut them. I wouldn't even keep them on the team. I would go ahead and try to pick up some free agents or a couple of wide receivers in the draft maybe. But I'd like to see the Cowboys get a wide receiver up toward the top somewhere in the 2nd or 3rd round. Now, we're going to need maybe one other offensive lineman in this draft. And there's several good ones out there the Cowboys could choose from. The same as safeties and linebackers the Cowboys are going to need. And even a defensive end. The Cowboys are going to need another defensive end, especially if they don't bring back D-Law, which I don't think is going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be interesting, folks. There's a lot of things going on, and it remains to be seen which direction the Cowboys are going to go in the draft. It remains to be seen how good this staff is going to be. But I wanted to get on here and go over a couple of these things, and also remind you not to forget to subscribe to the channel, to Cowboy Star, where we bring you all the latest news on your Dallas Cowboys. And I'm excited about the draft that's coming up. Hopefully the Cowboys can snag some good players in this draft. And I was watching Broadus on the draft show. And man, he's got the goods on all these players. If y'all want to know about all these draft players that the Cowboys could get, tune in to Love of the Star, Brian Broadus, or on 105.3 The Fan. I listen to him all the time, and he's very, very knowledgeable. With that being said, we catch you guys next time. I'm out.